With hundreds of mantras having been added over the years, some of them are bound to completely break the game's balancing. From a mantra that could do 14,000 damage in one-shot bosses, to a mantra which had to receive 6 nerfs the same day that it was released, we'll be taking a look at Deepwoken mantras that used to be overpowered. Now we're all familiar with huge mantras like Fire Eruption or Shadow Gun, but even those are nothing when compared to mantras back in verse 1. Since there was no limit to how many modifiers you could use, players quickly found out that you could put as much size modifiers that you wanted on certain mantras and make them massive. However, none of them even came close to Ice Beam, which you could make cover someone's entire screen all whilst having a very short cooldown and taking very little ether. But the getting hit by a giant mantra really mattered when you could heal all of it back insanely quickly. As with the Blood Shadow talent on Reinforced, you were able to steal from your opponent's health and heal a ton of HP in seconds. And if you also pair Flame Wisp on top of that, which used to passively heal you no matter what instead of only healing of burn ticks like it does now, you would be practically unkillable. But we're still just scratching the surface of busted mantras. You see, not only did Razor Blades have a ridiculously low windup, at one point it also did 2 bars of damage whenever it would land, turning what was already a great mantra into one of the most overpowered mantras of all time. But despite all of that, it still didn't come close to this mantra. Now when it had first released, Iron Tether was actually one of the worst mantras in the entire game, but that was until it got buffed the following update and was made unparryable with an unreactable windup, which means that by using it right after parry, it would lead to free damage and combos every single time no matter what you did. That is, unless your opponent literally flew away from you, which you could actually do with this mantra. By fainting it at the very start of the windup, you were able to travel the distance close shave should normally take you, but without putting the mantra in cooldown at all, making you able to do crazy feats like flying around your opponent to confuse them, or being able to infinitely fly. But even infinite flight couldn't do anything against this mantra. With an unreactable windup, insane range, and no indicator like it has right now, Flaming Scourge with a reversal spark on it dominated ganks for months. But that wasn't the only time Flaming Scourge was absolutely busted, as when it had first released, it would hit your opponent even if they parried or rolled the mantra. But even all that is nothing when compared to this mantra? While it might not look the most intimidating, Ice Lasers was once one of the most broken mantra in the entire game. Even though it didn't deal that much damage by itself, it was a projectile mantra that had a humanly unreactable windup, meaning that people would use it to abuse hitstun and get combos in for completely free. But it seemed like the Deepwoken devs hadn't learned their lesson though, as a projectile mantra with an unreactable windup would later get introduced into the game again with the release of bloodrend, that mantra being Blood Orb. Not only was it instant, it actually did a good amount of damage and was modifiable to make it split into 3 orbs, making Blood Orb a better version of Ice Lasers, which mind you was already a pretty busted mantra. That wasn't the only ridiculous mantra introduced with bloodrend though. A Scarlet Cyclone used to not cancel when parried and also allowed you to move stack any crits while casting it, resulting in free damage and crazy true combos with no counterplay whatsoever. But it really doesn't matter how much pressure a mantra could apply though, since when metal turrets had first released, not only could you cast them instantly, they also had a ton of health and did insane damage. And as if that wasn't enough, it also took 0 ether to cast regardless of how many modifiers you had on it, making you able to single-handedly win fights by playing passive next to your turrets. And not only was it busted in PvP, it also did insane damage in PvE, and when paired with the Seer enchant and Tacit, you could shred through bosses like Elder Primadon without even having your hands on the keyboard. But if you didn't feel like waiting 20 seconds for bosses to die, then you could just instantly kill them with this mantra. You see, if you hit a mob with Crystal Impale after hitting them with Crystal Knee, you could instantly do a stupid amount of damage and damn near one-shot every boss in the game. So yeah, PvE has also had its moments of broken mantras, but that is nothing when compared to the eras of overpowered mantras PvP has had. Like how the counter mantra prediction was busted for over a year, with it being unpunishable since there was no unlag like it does currently, and being able to chain it over and over again using it as your parry key, prediction completely broke the game's balancing. But if you thought prediction was a ridiculous counter, then you haven't seen Equalizer. While we all used to it being one of the most punishable mantra in the entire game, at one point it actually used to not have any unlag whatsoever. And yes, the same Equalizer which can confirm moves like Eclipse Kick used to be unpunishable, making it broken for months. Months is laughable for this mantra though, which took over the meta for years. You see, while Exhaustion Strike is still a very strong option, it used to have a considerably shorter windup than it does now, and was also able to guard break people, making it a must-have mantra for every single PvP build. What didn't take forever to nerf though was Iceberg, which only took a singular week to nerf. At one point, it was able to heal half a bar of health, and no matter what you did was also uncancelable. If your opponent used Iceberg, you were literally unable to do anything but watch them heal. But half a bar is nothing for Silas Beam though, which could actually heal over a bar of health since you were able to modify it and make it last considerably longer. And while the Silas Beam is happening, this type of video takes a very long time to make, so if you could leave a like if you've been enjoying so far, I'd really appreciate it. But even though it didn't increase how much damage Silas Beam would end up dealing, it would make it bypass the Blood Legend cap, making you able to heal a full bar from just one mantra. Not only that, it also had double the range that it does now, was unventable, and you were also able to hit people behind their block with it. But so far I haven't mentioned a single mantra from a certain Asuma. Gale users, don't think I forgot about you guys. After 3 years of Rising Wind being the same, it ended up receiving a rework due to it causing performance issues glitches and lagging people's games. And that rework turned Rising Wind from a very strong mantra to one of the strongest mantra in the entire game for the first week that it was reworked. Not only did the new Rising Wind feel out of place and look like it was taken straight out of an anime, after the whole animation ended, it would leave you in a 3-second long state where you couldn't move, parry, or dodge at all, allowing you to confirm any moves in the game, including Silence Beam, which mind you deals half of someone's health. But that wasn't the only ridiculous mantra in Gale history though, far from it. As Windblade, when paired with the Tempest Wind talent, used to be completely unreactable on top of the insane damage that it already does. Or Wind Carve, which was a very underwhelming mantra until one simple change turned it overpowered for months, being able to feint it. And that change alone made the mantra absurd. Since Wind Carve had a considerably faster wind up than it does now, people would use it to abuse hitstun by cancelling the mantra after hitting the first stick, resulting in completely free combos. And as the cherry on top, the visuals of Wind Carve would keep happening even if the mantra got fainted, which, as you might have guessed, would completely hide the animations of your next attacks. But even that is laughable when compared to Art Slicer, a mantra that came with the release of the Soulbreaker Oath. With a very short cooldown, insane damage, and an unreactable windup, Art Slicer at its peak was probably the best Oath mantra ever added to Deepwoken. That wasn't the only move with an unreactable windup and insane damage though, as when Flashfire Sweep had first came out, it had the 200 millisecond windup on top of doing half a bar and being able to synergize with talents like Meteor Impact for even more damage. And keep in mind the average human reaction time is also in the 200 millisecond range. So when you account for ping and input lag, that would mean Flashfire Sweep was literally impossible to react to no matter what. Pretty balanced if you ask me. So far we've covered mantras that were busted on their own. But what about mantras that when used with other abilities would become incredibly unfair? Like Shadow Meteors, which you were able to move stack with the Starkender move Death from Above for insane pressure and completely free damage. Or Fleeting Sparks, which you were able to use at the same time as Radiant Dawn, resulting in a crazy true combo which dealt a bar of damage. And speaking of crazy true combos, what about a mantra which allowed you to do a half HP unavoidable combo? You see, not only did Throw have a very low windup, it would also apply knockdown in days whenever you landed it, allowing you to do this insane 50% true combo, which was Throw into Pressure Blast with Wayward Gem into the Eden Brand Hellcode critical, a crit which mind you deals 100 true damage. And while all this might sound ridiculous, this was a true combo that you were able to consistently land every fight, all thanks to Throw, which used to be absurdly broken. But we don't have to roll the clock that far back though, as Deepwoken still continues to have absurdly broken mantras to this day, like Ice Carve when paired with a Spring Spark, which recently was able to do a full bar of damage and have a 10-second lingering hitbox, or Lightning Stream, which currently goes through block and dodge, making it unavoidable if used correctly, or even Eclipse Kick, which was a perfectly balanced mantra until the devs recently decided it was a good idea to make it unrollable for some reason, making it be a free bar of damage if you bait your opponent's parry. However, none of the mantras I've mentioned so far in this video even come close to this mantra, which on its release, Permafrost Prison could cover the entirety of Lower Eresia, would freeze your opponents, making them unable to move at all, was unparryable, undodgeable, and you could chain it over and over again. It was truly the strongest mantra Deepwoken had ever seen, and in just 2 hours of it being released, it went from this to this.